Have you ever noticed that Adam Taurus' horns look a lot more like goat horns than bull horns? I mean, we know he's supposed to be a bull, but those horns look really goat-like. You know, maybe there's like a time skip or something like that, maybe a new aura ability that changes the character's appearance, then Adam could look something more like this. That would be really cool. Is what I would say if Rooster Teeth would stop killing off every single redhead they ever introduce into the story. It gets really annoying. I get attached to people. Stop killing off every single redhead you introduce, Rooster Teeth. Are we cool? Never mind. Hey Internet, Jojo here, and welcome to IdeaShock, and for the record, I am very upset with the fact that Rooster Teeth has only ever killed redheads. Amber and Vernal don't count. They were plot devices. And on top of that, every one of the characters they've killed have been one of my favorite characters. Oh my Ozpin, I have a type. This actually explains quite a bit. For those of you who don't know about RWBY, spelled RWBY, it is about a team of color-coordinated high school girls, Ruby, Weiss, Blake, and Yang. These girls are in training to become huntresses. Like every other anime ever. Now, in the world they live, Remnant, there's a race of people called the Faunus. These people have different animal traits as well as human traits. They are discriminated against and used as slaves to work in mines. At one time, these people were promised equality, but even still today, they are considered second-class citizens. No, they are treated as animals. Adam Taurus is a Faunus who dedicated his life to doing everything in his power to end this abhorrent practice. Until new writers took over and turned him into a psychopath with no purpose in the story, wherein they promptly killed him for no real reason, but I digress. When we first meet Adam in the third trailer for RWBY, also known as the Black trailer, Adam and Blake, the Bee and Ruby, are attempting to hijack and destroy a Schnee Dust Company train, a train that is transporting slave mine dust. This trailer served as the introduction of Blake and Adam, as well as showcasing their skills and abilities. From the very start of combat, we can see that they work together like professionals. Both of them can easily dodge minigun fire from Atlas robots that were stationed on board. Wait. What are Atlas robots doing on the Schnee Dust train? Is the government of Atlas protecting the Schnee Dust Company? The same company that uses slave labor and makes profits off it. That would explain why there's not much information on slavery and why it's only talked about in rumors. Oh man. Anyway, today we're not looking into conspiracy theories. Not yet at least. Today we're covering the powers and skills of Adam Taurus. The Black trailer served as a conduit to introduce the cast to the audience, as well as showcasing their abilities. And while Blake may be one of the main characters, the greatest feat from this entire trailer belongs to Adam Taurus. Towards the end of the trailer, Adam faces off against an Atlas Spider-Droid. This Spider-Droid fires a massive energy attack at the two heroes, but with his semblance, Adam's able to absorb it and then return it with even more power. This attack vaporizes the entire Spider-Droid. Adam vaporizes a metal robot. This robot is pretty similar to a tank. So just imagine Adam vaporizing the metal in a tank. Do you know how much energy he needs to accomplish that? No you don't, because I'm gonna tell you. And if you did know that, why are you here watching this video? You should watch my CP9 video, it's pretty good too. Not great, it's my first one, cut me some slack on that. But you shouldn't be here. Unless you're rewatching it, in that case, tell me, what is the future like? Have I hit 1 million yet? Anyway, this Atlas Spider-Droid is pretty comparable to the real-life Korean robot, Kuratas. But the Spider-Droid is almost 1.5 times taller than the Kuratas, and much heavier. Just look at the armor and weapons. So compensating for those, we can find the amount of, let's be conservative and call it iron.
It's a gold titanium alloy.
This means that Adam needs to vaporize about 8,000 kilograms of iron. The energy required to vaporize 1 kilogram of iron is more than 6.2 million joules of energy. This means that to vaporize every kilogram, Adam would need a little less than 50 billion joules of energy. This is almost 12 tons of TNT. So now we have to find out how much energy the Spider-Droid fired in that attack. In the world of Remnant, the only source of power comes from dust. Dust comes in several different elemental types, but the only types of dust it could possibly be are fire and lightning. But neither of these dust types have the same appearance as an energy beam. So what do we do now? How about this? Because dust is, dust, and dust comes from rocks, and rocks are mostly made of carbon, why don't we find the energy by discovering how much it takes to ionize carbon? Then use that energy as the energy from the attack. It takes 47,000 joules to ionize a single mole of carbon. A mole is defined as the amount of chemical substance that contains exactly... I'm just going to put it on screen. This number is known as Avogadro's constant. Avogadro's constant includes constitutive particles such as atoms, molecules, ions, or electrons. So now we just need to know exactly how much carbon the robot ionized. If we assume that the dust cartridge that the robot fired from is roughly the same size as a tank shell, 8.1 kilograms, we can find that we would need about 31 million joules to ionize it all. This means that Adam's semblance, Moonslice, multiplies power by over 1,550 times. Simply put, if Adam absorbs one punch, he can then release a single attack that is equivalent to 1,550 punches. That is a lot of power, but for the sake of argument, let's go to an extreme with titanium. Titanium would require about 100 million joules to ionize. If we apply this to Adam, it gives him a power multiplier of 455 times. Wait, what's that I hear? Some of you think I'm overestimating Adam? Don't worry, I prepared for that too. Because I too sometimes have doubts when it comes to numbers like this. Methanol fuel is sometimes used as an alternate fuel for cars. 1 pound of methanol fuel releases about 9,500 British thermal units, or roughly 180 million joules of energy. Hydrogen fuel is much stronger and it releases about 63,000 British thermal units per pound, or roughly 1.17152 gigajoules of energy. This amount of energy is about 1/3 the necessary amount to disintegrate a human, and yet this still makes Adam's Moonslice ability multiply attack power by about 45 times. This is a pretty low estimate of his power, so this is what I'll be using for the rest of the video and the rest of my calculations. There aren't really any good feats in RWBY that can be used to find speed, but the skill that RWBY appears to prioritize is reaction time. Several characters in RWBY have dodged things like lightning and lasers. All these characters that have demonstrated these skills and feats are either assumed to be or proven to be inferior to Adam. One person we know to be inferior to Adam, and who we're going to scale him to, is Blake. At the beginning of Volume 4, and while running away yet again, Blake is confronted by a sea dragon Grimm. And, like all good dragons, this one fires an element out of its mouth, but this one fires lightning instead of fire. During the fight, Blake is thrown into the air, and after gravity remembers her, she then falls towards the dragon. Now, the dragon fires several bolts of lightning at Blake, and she just dodges it. Using the time she falls to find the distance between each bolt, we can get a fall distance of 3.4 yards. For Blake to see and dodge lightning at that distance, she would need to react in 0.00000000488 of a second. Before we get to durability, why don't you like and subscribe? It would help me out a lot, guys. I mean, after all, this is my first step in my 5-step plan to take over the world. I'll make you a deal. If you like and subscribe, I'll give you each a piece of my new world order. Maybe I'll give you, like, Canada. Canada's cool. Or maybe, like, Australia? No, I want it for myself. Why don't you comment down below and tell me what you want?
Space!
Nope. Space is mine. Anyway, cool? Back to Adam we go. At first glance, any fan of RWBY would assume that Adam would have a weak aura and a weak physical body. However, that's simply not true. While it is assumed that Adam feels none of the force of what he absorbs, however, we've seen that this may actually not be true. Many times in the series, we've seen Adam recoil from attacks. He may not feel any of the attack, but it is very plausible that he actually does. Semblances are part of aura, and because Adam covers his sword with his aura when he uses his semblance, this means that in reality, Adam's semblance can absorb energy from attacks anywhere his aura is covering. This is identical to Yang's semblance. Well, not quite identical. It is actually far, far superior to Yang's. If his semblance can absorb and negate all damage, that's part of his durability. But of course, maybe he has to focus on what part of his aura he uses when he wants to absorb it. Oh wait, given his reaction time, he has plenty of time to react and choose where he wants to absorb damage from. Now to find the total amount of direct damage Adam's aura can take before it breaks. We first need to look at the end of Volume 2. During this fight, Yang does this. She punches a car. Now, using the weight of a forward focus, and an acceleration of the car, roughly 82 feet per second, we can find that a punch from Yang can deal about 3.2377 tons of force, but we'll call it a conservative 3. Now jumping forward in time, during the last fight between Adam and Yang, if you can call it that, Yang lands a total of 22 punches throughout the entire fight. Now, aura durability is accumulative, meaning that it builds up until it breaks, and assuming that Yang was not holding back, we can find that Adam took at least 60 tons of force in direct hits. However, Adam was able to absorb several punches. Before Adam used his semblance for the first time, he had absorbed 11 punches. The second time, he had absorbed 4 punches, and the third time he absorbed 2. The final total of damage that Adam lands on Yang using his moon slice would be about 1,755 tons of force.
Now stand aside, worthy adversary.
'Tis but a scratch.
A scratch? Your arm's off.
No, it isn't.
Well, what's that then?
I've had worse.
Yang immediately uses her semblance to hit Adam. Her semblance doubles damage that she has taken. It is only after this attack that Adam's aura breaks, which means that Adam's aura can take a minimum of about 3,500 tons of force before it breaks. Yang's aura, on the other hand, breaks immediately after this. This means that Adam's aura is more than twice the strength of Yang's. This is also not including any damage that he sustained from Blake or, getting hit by a ship. I mean motorcycle. I know that there are going to be some people who don't agree with me, but even if the numbers are off, we know that Yang's semblance doubles damage received. Since Adam's aura only broke after Yang used her semblance, and then Yang's broke at the same time, this means that Adam's aura has to be, at a minimum, twice as strong as Yang's. Adam fights with a sword and a rifle named Wilt and Blush. The sword is able to be fired out of its scabbard and used as a projectile. Adam's close combat fighting style is quite reminiscent of Aikido, a sword fighting style that practices cutting from the hip. The sword is drawn, used, and returned to the scabbard as quickly as possible. We already covered Adam's semblance, Moon Slice, and its ability to absorb, multiply by 45, and then release attacks. Another ability Adam has is the ability to make shadow clones. Now, he most likely learned this skill from Blake, but unlike Blake, his clones actually seem to have a physical presence. He also has incredibly keen senses. He beat Blake in a fight, who is a cat faunus, as well as tracked her across an entire continent while blindfolded. And while it's not shown in Volume 6, it is highly probable that Adam had to deal with the effects of the Apathy Grimm, monsters that drain your will to do, well, pretty much anything. This is the same group that almost killed the entire main cast, and Crow. It is implied that Adam has no ability in hand-to-hand combat, but this is just not true. Several times in the series, we see that he is an expert hand-to-hand fighter, using advanced martial arts. Also, many of his attacks involve him throwing his sword away, but he is fast enough to catch up with it in air. One of Adam's critical flaws is trusting people who are only using him for their own goals. I mean, Ilya only followed him because of Blake. Blake only followed him because he taught her stuff and then left as soon as she was done. Once Sienna became leader, she stopped using the tactics that were actually working. And this group of faunus stopped wanting freedom and equality because some people showed up and asked them to stop. I mean, if that worked, why didn't the Schnee Dust Company try that years ago? Oh wait, because of Adam. Because Adam was there and he'd go, no, we're not going to stop wanting freedom and equality. Because he was able to go through any means necessary. He took the fall, took the blame for every single thing that happened. When, most of the time, it was Sienna's fault. Every single person that Adam ever trusted betrayed him. Now, I'll say it again. Adam is, without a doubt, my favorite character in the entire series of RWBY. Because it's been a long video, I don't want to drag this out any longer. If you made it to the end, why don't you let me know who your favorite character in RWBY is, and I will probably end up judging you for it. So tell me why you like them as well, and maybe I won't judge you as hard. For me, Weiss is best girl, and that's all I got for today, guys. Thanks for sticking to the end. See you next time. Stay spectacular. JoJo out.